All right, my name is Jeff. This is Big Hairy Dog. This is a webinar on the Retail Pro promotion tools, or RPro promotions. There are two, one for V8 and one for V9. They're in a lot of ways very similar to each other, and in some ways not so similar at all. So we will dive in and take a look at the tools. And if you guys have questions, there is a chat. Feel free to post things to the chat. I have no problem with that at all. I try to keep an eye on it, by the way, but sometimes I'm not so good. And I also unmute everybody's microphone as much as possible if it's appropriate. If you guys are busy or have conversations going on, I'll leave you muted so that you guys can chat and have fun. And all right, so let's take a look. This is V9 right here. This machine, anyway, is V9. And we have another machine right here that's V8. So I've got both setting here we can play with. So let's start off with some basics here. If you're going to use the promotions tool, you have to sort of set it up or turn it on. And both of them have a very similar process for that. So in V9, if you go and find your Retail Pro 9 folder, you will find in there an RPro prom folder. And inside there, you'll find some files. Not this many. Mine are hacked up a bit, so I have to apologize for that. Really, let's just say new here. Let's clean this up. Yeah, all this here is pretty much junk. So your folder would look more like these files right here, and it may not even have that file yet. So when you first go in there, you're just going to have 4 files. That's it. Now you're going to want to take the DLL and the MNF. These 2 files here are what's called plugins. And so what we would do is we would take these 2 files and copy them to, surprisingly, the plugins folder. That's why they're called plugins, right? So we would paste those in. Of course, mine are already there, right? So, but they're both there anyway. We would normally paste those into the plugins folder. Now the plugins folder in both versions is loaded last, meaning if you already have Retail Pro open and you copy these files into that folder, you better exit Retail Pro and relaunch it because it already loaded the plugins that were available when you launched it before, if that makes sense. So it's really important that with a plugin that you relaunch Retail Pro. So let's take a look at V8 real quick. So V8 is quite similar actually. So in version 8, you go into Retail Pro and Retail 8 or Retail, and you will find an RPro prom folder just like the other one, right? And a plugins folder. So in here, now the file extensions are a little different here. You have a BPL is your plugin. That's your executable. That's your program file. Then they have some icons here, some BMP files and an INI file. So here you would just select all these files here, and you would then take them over to the plugins folder, and you'd paste them in. Of course, again, mine are already in here, so it's just going to keep saying these are already there. But that's what moves the plugin over so that it gets loaded when you load Retail Pro, right? That's the deal right there. All right, so then next, how do you get into the menu? So if we've moved the plugin files over in both cases, and we have relaunched Retail Pro, right? How do I get into the promotions menu? Well, they live in slightly different spots. Retail Pro 8, you have to go into the RPro folder, and you have to go down a little farther than that. Right, so there is an RPro promo.exe that's sitting in the RPro folder. So you'd probably want to drag this over and I right-clicked and dragged, by the way. Right-click and drag will give you the option to create a shortcut. Of course, I already have a shortcut created right here. So, and if you double-click it, you get into this. This is the menu. It's going to the RPro website. Not my first choice, but okay, I can live with it. So this is the menu in version 8. If we hop back over to version 9 here, the executable in this case is right there in that RPro prom folder, which I think is a little smarter, to be honest. I think they improved that. So here's your executable, and you would again right-click and drag that over. Of course, there's a dozen different ways to make a shortcut, so I leave that to you guys, however you guys really want to create a shortcut. But and again, I have already created the shortcut here. Pretty sure I have one. Yeah, there it is right there, RPro 9 promo. So, and then of course you could launch that and sign into it to get to the main menu in RPro 9. So RPro 9, there's our little menu up at the top there. Now, with V8 and V9, there's one more difference in V9. You have to go one more step, and that is you have to go to Options and first, and you have to enable this. And I'm going to back up one step and do something that I've already done, but I want to make sure everybody gets it. So let's get out of RPro 9. If you've never ever gone in here and you've never launched this, if you open it and you get an error, it says something about the database being broken or a discount being broken. All you want to do to get around that and is go into your shortcut, and at the end of the line here, you can just add a /fix db. So let's do this here. Let's just take this and copy it real quick so that this resolution may be a little rough. So let's just like make it a little easier to see. You know what I mean? So the command line here is oh yeah, whatever. 22. That would be big enough, right? Maybe not. Maybe I could go bigger. We'll go 36. I think that'll be big enough, right? Okay, so this part here, this was already in there. That's just the path and the executable. That's all that is. So in this drive, in this folder, in this folder, this executable exists, and basically run that, right? That's all that is. And I added a space, and then I added fixed db to the end. That's all I did. Now, when I launch it for the first time, with that in there, it'll just kind of come up and stop just like that. It'll spin for a second and then stop, and then go right back in there and just take that out. So we just delete that back off and we're good to go. We're good to go ahead and launch it and get in there. And that's only if you get that there's an error that comes up, and it's just because the MDB is old and it's probably original, and it never got reconfigured when they modified the executable. So now that does not happen in version 8. All right, so we could probably do a little compare and contrast here. The filters are much more powerful in version 9. They're a little nicer, but the version 8 one works pretty well. So there are different modules in each of them, oddly. So let's just buzz through those real fast, and we'll go try one. So quickly here, customer discounts, that's like a price list of a specific group of items that will be priced specially, and you can attach that price list to the customer. Coupons is a function to coupon. In version 8, you have to go through that to do a coupon. In version 9, the coupon field is added to many of the promotions, so you could make any one of them a coupon, which is pretty handy, I have to say. Buy one, get one is obviously buy one, get one half off, buy one, get one free, buy 5, get one, buy 3 trucks and get a toy car for free. I don't know. You know what I mean? Quantity discount is just straight up quantity discount. And actually, there's a feature in Retail Pro, the discount schedule, also called RPro promo, or just called promo discount. Anyway, it's confusingly named the same as our tool that we're going over, and it does a very good job of having a discount schedule that lets you mix and match items together. And so I'm not sure if the quantity discount one is all that useful. Gift with purchase is the last one in V8. In V9, we've got the customer pricing. We've got promos, which is really robust. The promos tool, and we'll go ahead and look at each of these in a minute here. The promos tool, though, lets you take a discount by percent, by price, or by amount. So take $5 off, take 5% off, let them buy it for $5, right? So any of the 3 options in promos. Quantity discount, again, very similar to the quantity discount on the other side. Pricing is oddly, it's like promos, except that it's only price point. So sell it for $25.99. That's all. No percentage off, no dollar amount off. So otherwise, it's the same as promos, and I'm not sure why we have 2 of those that do the same thing in there. BOGO, buy one get one off, half off, right? Is the same. And then we have a bunch of more preferences in V9, which we probably should buzz through those, but those are pretty boring. We'll save those for a bit later, right? Okay, so let's do a quick walkthrough here. In V8, you would have to add in any of these things in here. Maybe we should back up and go over here. Here you can see I've already added one, right? So buy one, get one. And if we edit that, you can see V8 gives you a very structured, maybe not as filterable, and that's both a blessing and a problem, I will tell you right now. The filter in V9 is where I have all my trouble. We have some nice workarounds to make it easier, though. So here, there's almost no data in this V8. I had to add this department code so we'd have something to filter on. But you just have a drop-down menu. So you see I only have one thing in the drop-down menu here for both of them. And then I said, give it a name, buy quantity, get quantity, start and end date, discount percent, stores. That's it. That's setting up the department one here in V8. And if we wanted to, I think we could actually go and test it. So here I am playing around with it a minute ago. So let's just do it fresh though. So item 7 and item 8. So this was $29.99. I put item 8 on there. It's another $29.99 item, similar item but different, and it discounted the first one to 49.98% off, because $29.99 you can't take $14.99 and a half a penny, right? So you can't actually technically cut that one in half, so it had to go to the closest percent it could. V9 real quick. Let's take a look at V9 and the same thing. So we've seen both of them. And so V9, I thought I had some of these set up, but I guess I was on a different machine. So we'll have to set one up here, won't we? With V9, it's a wholly more complicated process, made so mostly by the filters. So let's identify something we can set up here and see if we can make a quick buy one get one promotion. So we'll just peek at inventory and pick something simple. Yeah, we could probably do this here, right? So copy this. That works for me. All right, so I'm gonna say let's get rid of these here for now. Let's just start with a clean slate here. Now, my example is going to be overly simple, and then I'll come back around and tell you why in a minute, but I think you'll see. Priority field here is if there's a conflict in promotions who gets priority, right? I mean, I'm gonna say right up front, don't have a conflict. I mean, we're in the driver's seat here, like, you know. So subsidiary company, um, I have 3. Mostly guys only have 1. I'm gonna add all stores. Buy filter. So in this case, our buy filter is directed at description 2, right? So I'm going to take description 2 and say it equals that value there, right? Now that's overly simplified. That's really, really simplified. But we'll talk about the filters in a minute, one thing at a time, right? So let's take a buy one, get, and we'll stick with our simplified filter, right? Get one, apply as many times as we want. Seem to be missing some fields here. Get filter apply once, discount type, right? So I'm going to say percentage, but you see how I got price, percentage, or dollar amount. So I could take $5 off, I could sell it for a specific price, or I could just say, look, I want to do 50% off, right? I could have a start and end date, but I'm not going to bother. This one's a tricky one. So you got highest, lowest, and optimize. So for this one, we gotta sit back for a quick second and talk about it. So let's say they're buying, let's say they can get as many of these as they want to buy, okay? And let's say that they're buying 4 items, and the price points on the items are 90, 80, 35, and 25. Okay, so those are our price points right there. Okay, now if we choose highest, then it would take half off both these, right? If we choose lowest, then it would take half off both of these, which would be good for us, but not so good for the customer, right? If we choose optimize, what it would do then is would say, okay, well, this is a group, so take half off this one. This is a group, so take half off this one. Does that make sense? So you got to realize if it's buy one, get one half off, it's always going to be the lesser valued item, correct? But if you gave me half off these 2, I would return them, and then I would buy this set here and say, oh, this is for my mom. Can you ring this up separate? And you'd take half off this one here, right? And then I'd buy the other 2, and you'd take half off this one, right? So they'll just mess with you and figure out how to get their half off what they perceive as fair, right? So it's up to you on how you set that up. But and there are some promotions where it might work to do the lowest. If there were only $3.99 and $3.49 items, and you're only taking it off $3.49 items, then yeah, just hit lowest, right? All right, so then there's the coupon field where we could actually apply a code to it to get it to activate. If we don't apply a coupon code, then it just activates all the time. These are our reason codes as defined in system preferences. So I went in and added a BOGO to my system preferences in Retail Pro 9, and that's what put that in there. So I'm just selecting BOGO for my reason codes, and we don't need a buy threshold or a subtotal. And that's pretty much it on setting up a BOGO in V9. Now, we went over this pretty quick. And let's see if this works. Let's go back in here and all right, so any of these items right here, right, should work for me, right? Or I might have to restart Retail Pro. Supposedly in V9, which is not true of V8, but in V9 you're supposed to be able to just back to the main menu, and it's supposed to reset and reload the new database. I guess we'll find out, right? Right, so that's what's important right there for us to see. Let me see if I can point that out a little better. Let's bring this down to where it looks a little bit more like a regular point of sale screen. And what I want you to see is basically in the middle here, there'll be a box pop up, okay? And this does not happen in V8, it does happen in V9. So right out of the gate, if you've turned this on and you think promotions is working, when you scan an item, you better see this little box. I'm not sure what's going on with the multiple discounts there, but obviously the $49.97, that came from the promotion. The other one may be predefined as an undefined discount. I don't know. This is a sandbox. I do a lot of stuff in here, and so I could have something else lined up from another session that I wasn't aware of. So, but clearly it did apply the discount right there. That's what's important to see there. Now, I guess I should go back and officially address that conversation about the filter, right? So let's take the get filter and let's go look at some stuff in here at the same time. So this is where I've had trouble. So let's say we want to take whatever, everything in the boys department, right? Where I've had trouble with the filter is if I say DCS code contains boy, that should work. That should grab all of those items. So I'm going to tell you to try this if you're trying to put an entire department on sale, right? But I'm going to tell you, test it. Test it a lot. Make sure that it is working the way you want it to work before you turn it on for the store or push it to the remote store. It's critical that you test these things. Now, what I've found in practice is that does not work out so well. So what I've done to get around that is I would take let's take this here. So I would typically say equals and put that in here like that. Click OK. Click this again. Check this off so that it's an OR statement, right? Then I would go back to Retail Pro 9, grab the next one. And so what I've found in practice is that this works better. This works every time. If you're going to do department codes, it's annoying as all heck to have to put them each in, right? So this department code or this department code, or you guys follow what I'm doing here, right? Equals. Now this is much more of a pain in the butt, but you don't want to screw this up. This is a discounting promotion, right? You don't want to screw this up. So I'm going to say it's worth taking an extra minute and putting these things in right. And then it works like a champ. I will tell you, the more vague you get with this filter, the tougher it gets. So that works. If you say this or this or this or this, that works every time. So, all right, now, another way to get around that, and maybe a better way, and this was not my idea, but hey, I adopted it, right? Because it's a good idea. Okay, what do we have here? Nice. So what we're looking at here is picking a field that would manage this for us. So if we come in here and pick a field like Ox8, which is not renamed, right? We could then add that to the screen and we could choose to put in whatever we want. And we could build our promotions around it. There are pros and cons to this. The pro is for sure that we get maximum control over this promotion. I mean, the con is putting all the damn data into that field. So it depends on what kind of promotion you're doing, to be honest. If you're doing one where you're cherry picking items, then being able to come in here and say, like, for a 10% off promotion, I'm going to put the word 10 in there. For a 25% off or a 50% off, I'm going to put the word 50 or 25 in there, right? Then if you make up the mark and you then are setting up the filter, then it's just a no-brainer, right? So if I go back in here and remove, I could go in here and find aux8. I could say equals exactly what I want it to equal, right? Now the mark could be anything. The mark could be a price, like $3.99. The mark could be the name of an event. It could be 4th of July. It could be anything you want it to be. So the other thing that I've noticed that's maybe an unintended advantage to that particular procedure is this whole priority thing over here kind of goes away, because if you only have one field to mark things for promotions, it can you can manage that. You know what I mean? You wouldn't put two marks in the same field, so it kind of takes care of itself. Obviously, if you're doing an entire department, I'm going to say do it by department code. If you're doing an entire vendor, do it by vendor code, right? And on that point, I want to point out something, that if you have not bumped your SA up, and this one I have not, right? So this one here is an old copy of Retail Pro, and you see that vendor code is not here. Vendor code was added. It is in the current version. But in scrambling to make my newer version work, I was not getting there, and I only had 3 minutes left, so I went back to an older version that I already had working. Go with the bird in the hand. We still have to present, right? Show must go on. So, all right, so that's the basics of setting one of these up. Let's bop through some of these in both versions and make sure that we're addressing all these. So the customer discount one over here, if we add, that's like a global one, right? This is a, right, purchase. Type percent or dollar, promo class, right? Right. So this promo class field, that's what I was looking for. And you may have to add that to the customer database. So in V8, they put a field out here that we could create these promo classes and put them in there. And there's a place in preferences, and I guess I should go show you that, right? This is really taking me back a couple of years. It's been a while since I've done a lot of serious configuring of V8. Right, so here's our, right here to this price discount. This is our promo classes right here. So we could come out here and then test or whatever we want to say, gene sale or whatever, right? So whatever we put out here, if we were to relaunch then this tool here, which is kind of a pain, it would then let us see those, and then we could assign it. We could set it to be a percentage off or a dollar amount. And I really thought, let me see here, I really thought there was a, yeah, wow, this is so, after using V9, this is so restricted. I hope that we're all either on V9 or thinking about moving to V9. You can do some stuff in V8, but it really is restricted. they wrote these, and then I think they rewrote the V9 one, then Retail Pro rewrote it. Coupon, let's just edit this one real fast. Yeah, that's more like what I was kind of expecting to see on the other one. So here you can select the items by putting little check marks on them, right? So you can actually come out here and select the coupon. You can tie it to a promo class if you want to. Decide what it is, a discount or a dollar amount, 50%, and choose your stores. And then there's some searching functions at the bottom here to find the right items. But when we looked at quantity discount, honestly, I don't even use that much. I use the discount schedule in Retail Pro. I think the V8 one is a little more powerful in one respect. I think you can put the price, right? So here, example, 3 for 10, right? In the quantity discounting schedule in Retail Pro, to do 3 for 10, you're going to have to say the unit price is, well, the unit price would be $3.33. Therefore, it wouldn't be 3 for 10. It would be 3 for $9.99, right? So in the V8 module, you could actually say the price is $10, and it figures out how to do 333, 333, 334, right? V9 does not. V9 does the same thing as as the discount schedule, and you lose that ability in the V9. So in both cases, though, in inventory, there's a discounting schedule inside Retail Pro that is a more powerful, or equally as powerful, but a little faster, works faster anyway. Under options, promo pricing, see, I can create in here. This is just an right in inventory, and it's the same thing in V8. We could look at it if we think we need to. So far, I don't see any chat questions or anything like that, but if we add one here, whatever, 2 for 10, if that's nice. The promo ID would be 1. That's weird. The name would go here, 2 for 10. But it's better if I look what I'm doing when I do it, right? Then down here we would say when you reach quantity 2, the unit price becomes 5, right? Now what this lets you do, and the reason I like this, is that it gets a promo number. And so if we close this, you then would go in and find that field. Do we have field on screen? So what I found is in using these, that this method, this tool here, is actually much faster than the RPro promotions module. That's why I'm actually pointing it out, and it must be already in our screen. Yeah, promo number right there, apply. So it's right here, and I just missed it. Now, see, if you guys were on the phone, I would say, like, you should be helping me out here because I can't see the field to save my life, and I know it's right in front of me. Wacky. Oh, there it is right there. How did I miss it 3 times in a row? Anyway, right here, we would just put in our our schedule. So you see, I could put that same schedule on as many items as I want, thus creating a mix and match. And I get to go in and cherry pick which items I want to put it on. So I guess if there was a compare and contrast, like eval, right, it would be that the promo tool would let me use a filter, right, which might be better in some large scale situations, whereas the promo schedule would let me apply that schedule to as few or as many items as I want, one by one, which would be good for clearance items where you're cherry picking stuff, right? Well, not so good if you're going to do like an entire department. But since you're doing it by price point, you'd have to be grouping similar price points anyway. And I guess that's another issue. Let's go take a look at that. If we were in quantity discount schedule, and so this has got a lot of quantity discount schedules, and you see here that the client who set this up is using Ox8, right? They're using Ox8 and they're putting different marks in Ox8 to fire this thing off. So that's the advantage right there, is that the advantage here is you don't have to touch every item. Well, you do if you set up an Ox8. You do have to touch every item. but you could filter for bigger groups. But again, that's dangerous, because you could have in a given category, you could have an item that's $100, and in the same category, an item is $2. So discount type can be amount or percentage. So that would be the advantage of this tool as well. So the one that's built in, the internal one, is only going to be a price point. You can't do 10% off. So if you wanted to say buy 5 T-shirts, any price, get 10% off all of them, this would be a better tool. Right. And I really wish they had a form view here. They don't. I keep thinking I can open this up and show you better, but I can't really. So here, discount includes, again, it's the filter, right? Okay, it's angry at me for something. Sometimes when you're hopping around too quickly, it thinks you're editing one and won't let you edit another one. I have seen that. Just exit, come back in. It'll fix that problem pretty quick. But you're probably not going to treat it the way I treat it, which is not so good, really, to be honest. Right, see, so here you'd be able to filter by whatever you want, by descriptions, by departments, by... All right, so customer pricing over here is a little different. Customer pricing, you see, I've added some items, and you can insert. We can insert more items. We could go search for some items. Your choose edit items button is over here on the right, but one of the major differences is here in preferences, which we haven't looked at preferences. It says customer field to use for a customer list name, and it defaults to info1. And info1, most of the time, is available, but if you used info1 for some kind of link mark or something in the past, you may have to switch this to info2. So whatever we make the mark be, right? Whatever the if it's Mill Creek, if that's the list name, and then we got to put Mill Creek in info1 to activate this or attach the customer to it, if that makes sense. All right, excellent. Still no questions. Hopefully you guys aren't sleeping too much. I get if you are. All right, so then promos. I like promos a lot. This is a very nice little piece. If we say insert here, cancel the other one promotion, right? Was it in quantity? Cancel promotions. Right, so we would put in whatever we want to put in here, right, for a name. We would choose our company. A lot of this you see is the same over and over again. Our priority, then subsidiary, then company, right? Then stores. And then whatever we want to filter by for this. So we could say that, it's a department code, a vendor code, a description one, whatever we want to do. And again, the next version has vendor code, but not the version I'm currently running right here. Start and end dates if you want them, the amount and the type, whether it's a percentage, combined with quantity discounts or not, price levels to affect. Most of us only use one price level, but if we have multiple, we can select multiple. Item level, right? And so to that point, there is some functionality here that can happen at the transaction level. Reason code. You can schedule these, which is kind of nice, I'm going to say. I haven't seen a lot of people use that feature, but you can do it. There's a coupon code available here as well. Hey, wow. Looks like we have a question. You lost me in customer pricing. Okay, excellent. Thank you. Perfect. Well, customer pricing. So I'm very visual. I'm going to draw a picture because it just makes more sense to me, right? So what we're basically saying is that in this big pool of inventory, okay, I'm going to take a little group of inventory and pull it out and put special pricing on it and give that a name, right? Then in my customer database for a given customer, I'm going to attach this name to that customer. And this is true of both 8 and 9, whichever way you do it. Now, they attach differently. In 8, you have a promotions field that is used to do that thing, right? Whereas in V9, it just uses the info field to make that attachment. But in both cases, you have to attach the list to the customer. Then if the customer, this customer here, this customer right there comes in and they buy this item right here, they get it for whatever price it is in inventory. But if they buy one of these items right here, they get it for the price that it is in the list. That's what a customer list does. I mean, it's a tricky one. You know what I mean? You'd have to have like a club, and they get a certain price, 10% off all items that pertain to their club, but they don't get 10% off everything in the store, right? So maybe they have a skate club and they get special pricing on skate products. I don't know. You know what I mean? Hopefully that helps a little bit in describing what this customer lists are. Everybody gets excited about it, but I've only seen it used like 3 times. Really, it's a tricky one to use right, and you got to maintain it right because your products are going to change. So you're going to have to go back in and add products or change the filter, or be careful and make sure you know how you set the filter up, right? So, excellent question though. Yeah, does that make sense to everybody? Excellent. Thank you for the response. Um, um, it's cool, but like I said, I just don't see it. Practically, I don't see it used often. But promos used a hell of a lot. Everybody uses. They definitely use the heck out of promos. Um, and BOGOs pricing, not so much. This has a bunch of pricing in it, but you can see how it's being really used well here. Um, Again, they're using Ox8 to be the marker, and they're using a mark like $12.99 if they want it to go on sale for $12.99, right? Which makes it almost a no-brainer. Then you can just go into this Ox8 and put $12.99, $12.99, $12.99 on the items you want to go to $12.99, right? So I like the Ox8 thing. I know it's a little more work sometimes, but honestly, filtering correctly is a bit of a nightmare. It really can be extremely challenging. Over and over. I mean, I've set this up for many people, and over I see we struggle getting the filter right every time. So, whereas I think the Ox8 solution is a kind of an extreme solution, it's a bird in the hand. It will work consistently. If you limit yourself to one field and you put the mark in there, the mark will work every time. Period. Unless you type it in wrong. But if you're copy and pasting it in there, and that's what I would do. Is typically I would actually go into inventory and copy it and then paste it into the other fields, and then I would paste it into the into here, right? Like if I'm in here, I edit this here, I could just paste that in there. Boom, right? And that's a bird in the hand. That absolutely works, and that works well. So again, most of my clients don't use this. This here is set up for actually a client up on the Alaskan cruise line, and they put different things on sale and switch things around all the time, and so this is actually working very well for them. So um, it's just that again, in the pricing, it's only price point. So it's only price point. It's never a discount off. Whereas promotion or promo over here is whatever you tell it to be. It can be a percentage off, or it could be a price point, or it could be an amount off. I'll take $2 off, right? Uh, Now, I think you may have noticed that window pops up after I scan something. So And what I'm alluding to now is this setting in here, this disable setting. So in Retail Pro 9, if I'm ringing sales, it's evaluating every time I scan an item, right? So when I do this and scan an item, beep, the little box pops up, right? And I scan another one, right? It's going to keep doing that. That little box is going to keep popping up. Now, what we found is, and I don't think we can take the time to get there today, but if we get down to like 50 items scanned, it starts taking longer and longer, 20 seconds, 15 seconds, eventually 20 seconds. Because what it's doing, and it makes sense, is basically going through the list and like reevaluating what the best combination of discounts might be, right? Like if you started off with if you start off with a 90 and a 35, right? It would take half off the 35. But the minute you add the 80, it would switch and take half off the 80, grouping the 80 with the 90 and saying the lesser of the two is 80. Now that's if you're using optimize, which most people do, honestly, right? So it's going to keep reevaluating that to give the appropriate discount to the customer. And so every time you scan this, that little box pops up and it takes a second. Now, when you only have 4 items on there and you scan it, beep, it pops up and goes away. Now that was a little slow right there, but I'm on a sandbox and my sandbox is on my laptop and I didn't give it all that much memory. So this isn't the fastest sandbox in the world, right? With regular real hardware, that would have been acceptable. That would not have been that slow. But when you get to 15 or 20 or 30 or 40 items, yes, it'll start being painful and it will start being slow in V9. Not in V8. V8 doesn't have that problem. And the next version, Prism, which we're not looking at today, has a much more mature promotions module and it does not have that problem. It's fast as all heck. So um, that's just an FYI. So what they did, and I can't decide if I like this or not, to be honest. They put this thing, disable automatic promotions calculations, right? Apply manual promotion processing, perform automatic promotion processing when you click the tender button. So I could scan, wait till the end, click tender, let the thing pop up once and evaluate them all at once, right? Then if it took 15 seconds to analyze those 20 items that are on the receipt at that point, I would only have to wait that once. So, I mean, it's a decent workaround. Right. I personally like I really like the automatic. I like the price changing. I like to see the discount being applied correctly to the customer. All right, so I think we beat both versions up pretty good. If anybody has any questions about them, definitely slide them into the chat. Okay, so over here we did gift with purchase. We looked at quantity. We didn't do gift with purchase. That's the one we didn't do. So name, stores. So required amount, 200 bucks. And then, what do you get, right? It's a pretty simple thing to configure, and it just automatically adds that in. Excellent, thank you. So we have a comment here. Our customer discounts go as slow as yours, where it's 15% off across the board. Will doing that change help with this as well? I mean, changing the configuration at the end to calculate once. Yes, you're going to save time. I mean, if you're doing multiple calculations. Now, the only place I see this as a problem is I set it up in a thrift store. That killed me because people buy like $51 items. And then sometimes in pet food stores, if you get, 24 cans of this cat food and another 24 cans of that cat food, and then you throw in a few more things, then you get slammed. You know what I mean? It's pretty rough. All right, sorry about that, guys. A little interruption. We're in the tech room, and the tech room is always busy. And we're right in the, well, we're not in the middle. We're on the side, kind of. I got my own little space, but constant interruptions, right? So, um, so yeah, I think that if you're on V9 and you're having it evaluate the discounts repeatedly, then disabling the automatic and firing it off um, and really checking off warn is not a bad idea. Warn me if I haven't applied it right. But when you click the tender button, well, let's go try it, right? Let's hit update and changes saved, and let's back up here, discard. Let's see if it works or if I have to back all the way out. Okay. All right, so right away, I hope everybody sees that the box is not popping up. So I'm back to what I would consider to be a normal scan, right? I mean, I scan the item, beep, and it shows up, right? Now I'm going to click tender, and the box pops up, and it goes back and adjusts various things, right? And takes me to the tender screen. So that time that we waited for that promotion to apply, we would have waited 4 times, right? While it applied it, or 5 times, whichever how many items I scanned, right? So at the end, it takes a second, and if you had 50 items on there, it would have taken a few more seconds, right? I mean, I had 5 items on there, but you would only be doing it once. So yeah, if it's a problem and you are slowing down it because of like a pet food environment or something like that, then you might want to. You definitely got to test it. And now also, if you do change it, you got to tell your cashiers, be nice. You know what I mean? They'll be thinking it's not discounting. They click the tender button, then they get all the discounts, and they're freaking out by then. So definitely something to consider as far as how they work, I guess. Um, a lot of other little things. The debug thing. This is nice if you're worried about the promotion tool running, then if you turn this on, it'll pop a debug window up and you can just close it. It's a nice notification for that. Inventory field to use with store quantity discount weight. If you're using the quantity discount weight, which I've never had anybody use that yet, but you could. I see why. Um, Customer field to use for a customer list. We looked at that. So info 1 by default. That's where you'd put your customer list name. Inventory field to use for excluding an item, right? And value to be put in there. Those can be changed. I've not seen anybody exclude items by the way, but I know that it sometimes is a need. Receipt field to use for storing the discount. So whatever you give the promo a name of, like if you call it BOGO, that's going to write to item note 5 on the item level so that we can then run reports at the item level, either group or filter for that value, right? So if you're doing these promotions, yeah, you probably want to hook up with one of us. That's the same thing with V8, by the way. V8 does a similar function, I believe. It puts it in, I forget where it puts it though, but it does track that reason code or the name. I'd have to go back and review the docs. Actually, it's been such a while since I've set up in V8. But certainly I could write a report that could either filter or sort on item note 5. I mean, I've done it for other reasons, not the promotions tool, but I have done it. So, and you could add item note 5. Does everybody know what an item note is, real quick? So V8 does not have item notes. Okay, so cancel. Whoop, just passed them all, didn't I? You always do. You can never. Okay, item note 5. It looks like I've already grabbed it, huh? Damn. Yeah, there it is right there. Right, so there you see the name of the promotion writing to those items. So item note fields are actually quite large, 250 character fields, right? So you could put a lot of text in here if you wanted to. Well, you have to be in a transaction, cancel. Right, so in here you see that I could put a lot of stuff if I wanted. I'm just pasting over and over again here, right? So like 254 characters or something like that. And you got 10 of them. So webinars are not really about item note fields, but they are there and they're very useful. And that's where we track the reason code for our the promo in V9. So import DB. Interesting. I've never used that. We should talk about I don't know how many of you guys have multiple stores, but if you do have multiple stores, once you create one of these, so I take the time to set one of these up and I get it nailed. I get it down perfect. I know it's working. It's discounting the items I wanted to discount. So I go ahead and put a start and end time on it, right? So that it actually has a date on it, a start date, end date. I don't know that I care about the time, but you could if you wanted to. Then I need to move this promotion from one store to another. Now, both versions essentially do the same thing on that point. So let's go in here. Right, you see right here it says send to remote in V8. Now the reason they did that in V8 is you just click the button and it does. Right, but what it's doing, as you can see there, the move list.txt file has been created. So what it's doing is it's picking the database up and moving it. So and the reason that it does it the way it does it with a little button at the top, because version 8 move list is cryptic. It's very hard to understand. They use their own pathing, like grammar. I don't know how else to say it, and it's just really annoying. It's hard to get your head wraps around. So I'm just going to say that's probably something they needed to create a button. People would not want to type this up themselves. It would not work. RPro. Right, so there's movelist.txt, right? So yeah, you have to know what that means, right? So you have to put the right thing in the right place, and so see, it moves all the files in here, and then it adds a file down here that says where to put them. So V8, I gotta say, it's pretty painless, right? You're in here, you want to send this to the remote, you just say, send it to remote, and it does the move list for you. The next polling cycle, the move list is picked up and transferred to the store, and those items are placed where they're supposed to be placed. V9 does not have that. There is no send to remote here. You can edit their menus. Well, you can't actually edit the menus in here. So you can in Retail Pro proper, but you can't here. So there is no way to send this to the remote from here. However, there is a way to send this to the remote, just not from this screen, right? So first off, let's pop back over here and point out that the MDB, right, is right there. It's RPro prom folder, RPro prom MDB. Now we have it open, right? Right now we have it open. So I've got a lock file and a database file, right? So in version 9, the move list is outstanding. It rocks. There's definitely no reason that we can't do our own move list in V9. In V8, it's cryptic. You got to type it in. You got to type it in just right. If you make a mistake, then you don't pass go or collect $200, right? In V9, however, not the case. So if I go into my ECM, Enterprise Communication Manager, this is what we use to manage polling, right? And so I could have one or more station files. I only have one, and mine's called import export because I do a lot of importing and exporting, and I don't actually talk to remote stores. But if I was going to send, if this was a remote store and I was going to send the MDB to it, right? In the, we should make this smaller. In the right-hand menu here, so there's my station file, right-hand menu, it says move list. So I would click into my move list, and I would say I want to add a new move list, and I would say OK. And then here I would want to add a file, not a folder, a file. And then I would have to browse to the folder that it resides in, right? So that would be RPro 9, RPro prom, right? And then I would see the MDB. I would say open that. It puts it in here. Now, it's important for us to know our path. What I mean is that I'm in a sandbox. I'm on a C drive. Mostly when we install stuff, we put them on the R drive, but you've got to say where you're writing to, right? What is the path to save this file at the other end, right? Now, whenever possible, I would strongly recommend that we all have the same path. We try to go R drives everywhere. Sometimes we aren't able to do that if you guys buy custom hardware in the field that's not formatted by us and it does not have an R drive, then no R drive, right? I mean, can't go there if it doesn't exist. So, but the point would be for you guys to know, like if I had 3 stores on an R drive and 2 stores on a C drive, I'd have to create 2 of these, right? And what I would do is at the bottom, I would check off the 3 stores for the R drive path, and then I'd create another one that has a C drive path, and I check off the other 2 stores, right? Everybody get that? Anyway, that's pretty much it. Then up here you'd hit save, and then over here you click generate move list. And when you click generate move list, you see that this station now has a move list pending. And the next polling cycle that gets picked up, file is moved to that location and dropped in the place where we told it to be dropped in. So basically, in other words, in both versions, if we create a promotion and we want to send that to the remote, we will send the entire database down and it will overwrite their database. So obviously you guys can add your own structure to that, like we clean out our old promotions every Monday and we add new promotions and we write the thing down every Wednesday or whatever. When the promotions start on Friday, we want to make sure they're there a day or two ahead of time. Right? That's up to you. You guys can provide your own plan there, but you want to give yourself some structure. You want to have a schedule. You want to be able to do this. You got to have a period of time to test it. You got to make sure it's going to work. You got to be able to then send it down, confirm that it got there, right? Okay, so how are we doing? Wow, we're like an hour in. Didn't feel like an hour, really, to be honest. So that is the promotions tool, though, for the most part. Trying to think if there's anything else in here that I've missed that I should be going over. Yeah, there's some other preferences here, not much in here. Yeah, so, oh yeah, there is one more thing I want to go over. That's a really tricky one. So I am going to point out that there is some very good documentation on the promotions modules. I am also going to point out that, let's see here. If you guys have not done this, I highly recommend you do. So yeah, My Retail Pro. So My Retail Pro customer portal. So this is not Big Hairy Dog. This is Retail Pro, the developer, right? So if you come out here, then you can go in and sign into this. And it looks like I may have been signed in already. Weird. Um, and usually what I'm looking for here, let's see, can I, is there a log out here? Nice. All right, let's just do this then. Hold on, let's get rid of this one. That's why we have multiple machines here, isn't it? Not that I really like launching a browser inside a virtual machine. Like, it seems like kind of a waste, doesn't it? Yeah, that's not working out really well for me, is it? Okay, let's try it in here and see what this does. My Retail Pro. My Retail Pro customer portal. Come on, really? Yes, that's what I was looking for. See, now I'm a certified technician at the biggest dealer in the world, and it recognizes me, and I've gone in there before, so that when I'm on my browser in my laptop, it let me in. But up here, see, it says need an account, right? So you can put your email and log in up here, or if you don't have one, you could click I need an account, and it'll ask you who you are, and it'll say get started. You'll have to fill in your name and address and what your dealer is and all that stuff, right? Then they'll email you a password for your email address, and you'll be able to get in here to that directly. So I normally don't go in that way. Normally when I go in, I go into the what's called the Retail Pro Partner website, and again, it lets me log in. It doesn't ask me to log in anymore, right? And then I go to what's called, and this is what I would like you to have access to, the documentation portal, right? So in here, I could go in and say what version I'm on. I could say I want promotions, right? And it would say, show me all the matches, right? So here's your RPro um, V9 promotions module. Come on, you can do it. Just a download, right? So there's the manual though for promotions, and whereas I could easily download this and send it to you, but then that would be a static copy. If you get since you're all licensed users of Retail Pro, right? So you could go get your own credentials and just go in and get your own copy, and then if you want to look for updates, go look for updates, right? I mean, that's kind of what it's about. But I like this. It walks you through everything, and it gives you some really excellent um, examples. Like in each section, it gives you some really good examples. And so the reason that I jumped through all those hoops and brought that up on the screen is because there's one that Ken and I set it up, but Ken and I both had to sit and actually use the manual. We pretty much have to use the manual every time we do it too. Um, and that, we can get rid of this. That took a long time to come up, didn't it? So back here real quick, and this is kind of cool. So I'm just going to say insert so we can start with something fresh here. In the buy filter, now, so we say what we're going to buy and the quantity, and the get filter here. So you can see apply reward to global discount, right? So you can go in and set this like that. And then over here, you can, okay, keep going, a little further over. There we go. So use subtotal, and you can apply a threshold. So buy $200 and get a discount, or get whatever I tell you you can get back over here, right? I could say discount percent you know, 10. So buy two or get $50 off when you buy $200 or more, right? That's like the most complicated one to set up, but it's really cool. And I've set that one up a couple of times. It's just that I got to get the instructions out every time and go through them in detail and step by step it, because it doesn't seem to make sense to me that a BOGO would do that. But it is cool to know about, and so I highly recommend, again, um, getting access to the documentation portal and or the promotions documentation. And if you can't, um, obviously you could give us a shout out and we could, we could walk you through it. But it's actually pretty good. They're not Retail Pro is not usually good about giving you step by step. They do a pretty good job um, in this case here. I have seen a few times I've had to use it. They give you different examples and walk you through it pretty well. So, and then really you should have access to the documentation portal anyway. Like there might be times when you need to go up and look for something else. So I strongly recommend everybody have access to Retail Pros. Plus, nobody wants to keep a hard copy anymore, right? Of the manuals, right? So, all right. So, any other questions? I mean, I know we've been kind of all over the place, but and we've dropped about 3 people off already, so that tells you how exciting my webinar is. But any other questions about any promotional stuff or anything else that we might pertain to this webinar topic? If there isn't, I'm going to say thank you very much, and I really appreciate the participation. I always like good questions. I kind of miss the thank you very much, Annika. Did I say that right? Hopefully I did. I miss the old software. We had much more participation when everybody had to dial in on the phone, but I get it. You got a computer, you can just dial in. You don't need a phone. So I totally get it. Um, but thank you again for everybody coming and attending. And if you have questions, my name is Jeff, and my email, which I try to keep up on, but I'm a couple of emails behind right now, I will tell you. But my email, should you need to get a hold of me, is Jeff K at Big Hairy Dog. Trying not to make a typo, right? So it's always at Big Hairy Dog, right? That's all of us here, but Jeff K is me. So if you had a question or needed some follow up or you wanted one of those documents, and I could email you the RPro 9 promotions manual, or 8, by the way. All right, then. I'm going to tell you guys have a good rest of the day. Hope you enjoyed it, and we will talk to you next time. All right, bye-bye.